This is Aberdeen, city by the grey North Sea. It's Scotland's third city, smaller than Glasgow or Edinburgh, tucked away by itself in the northeast part of the country.
Aberdeen, a city of contrasts. A busy port, a thriving centre for agriculture and fishing, an industrial area, a popular holiday resort. The Granite City, the silver city by the sea, with its bracing air and shining stone.
Aberdeen has been called Scotland's city of success, and it's managed to avoid the worst problems of many other cities. But although oil has changed the face of Aberdeen in recent years, there was a thriving city here long before oil came on the scene.
How did Aberdeen become as it is today? To find the answers, we have to travel far into the past. From earliest times, settlements have existed where the rivers Dee and Don flow into the North Sea.
There's an old part of Bridge of Don down by the bridge beside the river, and it's got old fishermen's cottages where they used to live, and it's very interesting. The bridge was named the Brig of Balgownie, and it's made from sandstone, and it was built in the 12th century. The fishermen used to stay here and used to fish at the mouth of the Don, because on those times it was really good for salmon, and across at the other side of the Don there were places for they used to make their nets and dry their nets there.
Near the Brig of Balgownie is an area called Old Aberdeen, where Megan Fisher lives.
This is the High Street, and at one time it was the main street of Aberdeen, but as it's been built up, it's been left as the old part, and the university's been built up around it. I like living here because all the buildings are, different from most of Aberdeen, and it's unusual and interesting. The atmosphere is quite nice because there are lots of students milling around and going from one lecture to another and just walking around and things. There's always something going on.
Along this way in Old Aberdeen, about the 6th century, came St Martha, bringing Christianity to northeast Scotland. Legend has it that in a dream, St Martha, a Scot from Ireland, was told to build his church where the bend of the river was shaped like a shepherd's crook. And so on this ancient site arose his church.
At the entrance to the harbour, there are some large walls called breakwaters, and these are to protect the ships in the harbour from the rougher waves out at sea. Up above the harbour, on a hill, is Torry Battery, and it was built in 1860 to protect Aberdeen and Torry from any invasion coming from the sea. Torry Battery now is a ruin, and it's good for playing in, for the children to run around because it's open and there's lots of room and climbing bits. It's a good spot for looking at boats coming in and out of the harbour.
This one's a supply boat returning from the North Sea. The smaller boat is the pilot boat, which guides all the ships in and out of the harbour.
Since the days of William Wallace in the 12th century, a detailed record has been kept of the city's history. The coat of arms was given in recognition of the loyalty of the citizens of Aberdeen in their services against the English by King Robert the Bruce, who was the city's greatest benefactor, granted the town its royal charter in 1319.
The Aberdeen people are of course cut off from the rest of the world, but somehow they make of this a very positive thing. They rely on themselves and they don't seem to envy people in the rest of Scotland, they don't envy people in England. They're very happy.
All over Aberdeen there are buildings of grey granite. It's a very hard stone and lasts a long time, but it's not all grey. These houses have some pink granite in them. And this church is made of many different colours of granite. Aberdeen people call it the tartan kirkie. But most of the granite buildings in Aberdeen are grey, which gives the streets a neat, clean look to them. So where did all the stone for all these buildings come from? Well, the answer is right behind me here. It's a huge hole in the ground, and it's over 450 feet deep, and it's known as the hole that Aberdeen came out of. This was the huge Rubislaw Quarry, the biggest granite hole in Britain, which supplied Aberdeen with building stone for nearly 200 years. Today, it's no longer in use. But not far from Aberdeen are other quarries which are in use. This is one of them at Kemney, just a few miles outside the city. The granite industry, though, is not what it used to be. Fewer buildings are made of Aberdeen granite now because it's very expensive. But there's a great demand for granite for other things like monuments and stone chippings. So this is where the granite city's granite comes from now. And fortunately for us, these large blocks of stone are a lot easier to move than they were in the old days. Even I can do it. With a little help from a big machine, that is. Although much less granite is used in Aberdeen now, there's still a busy granite industry here. This saw cuts blocks of stone into slices. A guillotine snaps the stone into smaller blocks for building. Building stone has a rough finish chiseled by hand. Monuments usually have a smooth finish. They're polished by machine.
Liquid gold. Call it what you like. Britain now has oil, billions and billions of barrels of it, and has been quietly lapping at the doorstep all the time. When the North Sea first yielded its fabulous secrets in the early 60s, no one quite realized the extent of the discovery, nor did they envisage what vast changes the coming of oil would bring. Aberdeen, on the east coast of Scotland, one of the frontier towns facing the new Klondike, faces also an enigmatic future. For centuries, Aberdonians have turned to the sea for sustenance, not without success. The sea has been generous. Generally, the fishing has been good, and they've prospered. But almost overnight, the signs have changed. Aberdeen has suddenly turned into a boom town. Thinking has changed, priorities have shifted. The centuries-old smell of fish that impregnated the dockside now has the sharp eddy tang of oil. Aberdeen shipping, too, has a different profile. Where before they danced attendance on the cod and the herring, now the new gods are the towering oil rigs. Drilling platforms are repaired, new ones are born. And no time is lost in setting the husky young newcomer to work. This is Greythorpe 1 settling down. Exactly 5 years and 14 days since Seaquest first struck that black lake 7,000 feet below sea level, Her Majesty the Queen comes to Dice near Aberdeen. to start Britain's first flow of oil on its way south to the Grangemouth refinery. In the control room, Her Majesty almost casually presses the button. And Britain's home oil industry is in business. The computer screen tracks the flow of the oil. After seeing the oil on its way, Her Majesty unveils a commemorative plaque. Today's ceremony, though mainly symbolic, may be of more significance to the future of the United Kingdom than most Britons realise.
One place where oil has changed a community is Torry, close to the harbour. Many of the children who go to Walker Road School in Torry live near the harbour.
Old Torry used to be a fishing village until around 1973, and they knocked most of the houses down and put oil tanks in their places.
Aberdeen's a sort of a grown-up village. It is only a small population of about, say, 280,000, and everybody knows everybody. Aberdeen has changed a great deal in the last 15 years because the costs have risen. The city itself has developed more houses, and also we've had to adapt to the different nationalities of people coming into Aberdeen, like the Americans, like the Dutch, and like the French.
My dad's in the oil business, as most Americans here are. I've been to London, lived there, lived in Belgium, we've lived in the States, and now we've come here. I like Aberdeen. It's a little dismal sometimes, the weather, but we're going to make the most of it, I think.
Although the oil industry has brought many Americans to Aberdeen, it's brought people from other countries too.
I'm from Holland and I live in Aberdeen for 2.5 years. When I came, I couldn't speak English at all.
I come from Norway and I've lived here for 1.5 years. I was born in Brunei and my parents have travelled around the world, so I've lived in different places. But I like Aberdeen best because it's different weathers, instead of hot all the time.
With me. One of the best ways to see a place and really get to know a city or a country is to live there. And we really have the opportunity to really find out about people there and the culture. And I think that one day we will go back to America, to California to live. But right now we're really enjoying the opportunity that we have here. It's a nice place for our children.
One of Britain's most northerly cities, a city preserved in silver grey granite. So long, Aberdeen, and here's looking at you.